What's up everybody, NimbleFox here, back with another Destiny 2 build video for the Hunter. Today's we're going to be using Fortune's Favor and Turncoat with the Catalyst. And I've kind of put together a pretty fun build, and before I even explain this, let me show you what is going on. So first I'm going to stack up my latent power on old Greg here. And then let's bring these guys in here, just for a demonstration. All I'm gonna say to show this off first is watch my health bar. And that should speak for itself, but we're going to go into the build and explain what all is going on here, all the different interactions and different loops and stuff that you can play into. I've got some options for alternative armor that you can use, other than the one that I'm using, and we will now get into it. So first off, we're going to be on Void. Super can be really whatever you want here, it doesn't really matter. We're going to use Deadfall for right now. We're using the Phantom Surge melee. This is a new melee for Monument of Triumph. It's pretty good melee, damage-wise. It's got some good survivability built into it for giving overshield for defeating combatants, and refunds a little melee energy. Also giving you increased damage against Void debuff targets, or targets marked by On the Prowl. We've got the Vortex Grenade, probably one of the better grenades in the Void kit. Stylist Executioner for going invis when defeating a Void debuffed target, and increasing our melee damage when coming out of invisibility. We got On the Prowl for making weakening smoke clouds and being able to make our team go invisible with deployable smoke clouds wherever you defeat an enemy marked by On the Prowl. And it also gives you and allies that pass through the smoke, grenade, melee, and class energy, as well as weapon reload, speed, and stability. As for fragments, we're using Echo of Starvation for picking up a Void Breach, or an Orb of Power, grants Devour. Echo of Persistence for Void buffs are prolonged, like our Invisibility, Overshield, and Devour. We've got Echo of Remnants, where our grenades last longer for the lingering versions, like our Vortex Grenade. We've got Echo of Harvest, where defeating weakened targets creates an Orb of Power or Void Breach. So you can start seeing more playing into our Devour loop here. And we got Echo of Vigilance for defeating a target when your shields are depleted, grants you temporary Void Overshield. This one right here might seem a little redundant considering we are using Fortune's Favor, but when you get into more in-game content, your Overshield from Fortune is not going to last as long as you would think it would, because if you get into ad dense areas, you're going to be taking a lot of damage. So having this emergency method of getting your overshield back in a pinch is really nice, so that you can keep your damage buff from Fortune's Favor up. Moving on to the armor, said Fortune's Favor, we're going to be using this for the overshield and the damage boost. We are using a 4-piece U technology, rapidly defeating targets with Void energy spawns a Void Breach. We got more Void Breaches here. We'll have other ways to spawn Void Breaches as well. That is a 2-piece. 4-piece, Techion's Foresight. After collecting a Void Breach, your next final blow with a Void Weapon triggers a detonation. The detonation is more powerful if it is triggered quickly after collecting a Void Breach. And we will show that off right now before we move on to weapons. I have found that on red bars it takes about 3 rapid kills to spawn a Void Breach, and picking it up, once I pick this up, you will see on the left hand side of the screen I will get a buff called Techion's Foresight, and it will have a timer on it. Now if I pick this up and immediately kill something afterwards, or it's Clairvoyance, you see we get this big explosion. Now if I pick this up, you'll see the Techion's Clairvoyance tick down. It won't go away. The timer is just for the increased damage, so now it's at its base. and it will stay there until you get a kill. It's just not a very big explosion. Moving on to the weapons. We are using, first off, Festival Flight. Here we are using for Slice and Attrition Orbs. You can use any other strand weapon, like I've got this Accelerando with Slice on it. As long as we got Slice, that's what we want. Because we want to be applying Sever. You can also use Scatter Signal. Scatter Signal's really good. Mine is underpowered at the moment, so I've just got this one here as an example, just to show off. But Scatter Signal will also be a good one. Anything with Slice on it, preferably a special weapon, since we are using an exotic primary. Your heavy can be whatever as long as it's void, just to play into our artifact perks and the armor set bonus. I have a hammerhead here. You can also use a sword, a void sword. I've got Sullen Claw here as just an example. Rocket launcher is good. I've got this bellowing giant here as an example as well. But anything, as long as it's void, it doesn't really matter. Match it to the content you're in. Then we've got our exotic here, Turncoat. Power Surge. Rapid hits charge your next shot into an explosive round that deals additional damage and accelerates power buildup on hit. While empowered, every shot is explosive. Then we have down here the exotic trait. Dealing damage builds latent power. Precision hits and final blows build more. At full power, hold reload to trigger unleash power, empowering the weapon with increased rate of fire and hip accuracy and causing the shots to weaken targets. After a short time, it becomes overwhelming power, which deals damage to you over time. Reload or stow the weapon to end these effects. We also, here to play into Fortune's favor, which is the whole thing that had me think of this build to begin with, is when the empowerment ends, you gain a Void Overshield, the strength of which depends on how long you were empowered. Now with Fortune's favor, since you're going to have an Overshield going into battle anyway, right off the bat, you will be able to stay in. As long as you're not taking like super heavy fire and you're playing around any splash damage or whatever, you should have enough to last all the way through the unleashed power and survive the health drain. So I'll show you once again. We won't even kill anything this time. We'll just let it sap our health and we'll see how low it gets us. Almost there. As you can see, it didn't even break our shields, and when it ended, we got most of our overshield back already. So we are going to build this latent power up again, and then we're going to go into our artifact real quick before we move on. Since I'm using machine gun right now, I'm using Hold the Line. If you're using a rocket launcher, you can use perpetual destruction. I don't believe there is a sword perk on here on this line. Maybe, I don't know if it's further up. We got glaives and stuff, but you won't be using glaives. We do have particle reconstruction on here if you wanted to use that with a fusion rifle, or if you're maybe a linear, if you wanted to use that in your heavy instead. So you have options here. This one you can change out depending on whatever you're using. We have Volatile Marksman, where Rapid Void weapon precision hits and Rapid Void weapon final blows grant volatile rounds. Volatile detonations grant class ability injury, so this should be giving your class back enough to be able to trigger your slice and get your melee back, since we are using Gambler's Dodge. So you should be able to have your grenade up quite often. We have Maligned Harvest, where rapidly applying Volatile causes your next instance of void weapon damage to create a weakening burst. Applying Weaken provides a small overshield. So while we're throwing Weaken around, I think this also applies to Weaken from other sources as well, from you. So you should be, topping up your overshield from this as well. We have Elemental Siphon, where rapid final blows with kinetic weapon or weapon matching your equipped super, which is why another reason I wanted you to use Void. Create an elemental pickup that matches your equipped super. In this case, it's going to be Void Breaches. This is our other way of making those. Elemental pickups grant matching super energy when they are collected. This is just a utility perk. It's pretty nice for keeping your ammo topped up, where you pick up a special ammo brick and it has a chance to grant heavy ammo. We have 2 shreds. Dealing sustained damage to severed targets unravels them, and defeating a severed target creates a hotspot of strand energy granting Moblin Mail. Void Flux. Defeating weakened targets with a void weapon applies volatile to nearby targets. Powerful targets increase the radius of the explosion, so when a weakened target is defeated, it explodes into a volatile radius around it, so any adds that are around it will also get volatile applied. So I'll show you this one more time, and we're going to pick one of these guys this time. Shielded big guy. And this is all just the hand cannon. I haven't even used a festival flight or anything. You don't really need to here in the shooting range. You'll see that in the gameplay footage coming up after this. So I'll just show you how this does against stronger shielded foes with a non-matching shield. Before we get into the gameplay, there is one thing that I did forget to mention that I said I would bring up, and it is armor set bonuses, alternative to U technology. This is going to be a good one for making your general play, lower difficulty activities. I mean, you could go up to like Grandmaster stuff with this, but if you're going to do like super in-game stuff, you'd probably want to look at something a little different to help you survivability wise, because you are going to be chunking out your overshield with Turncoat, and you're going to be taking damage from more difficult combatants. So I'd consider something like the Nezarec set, or the set from Root of Nightmares, mainly for the 4-piece right here, where performing a finisher versus a powerful combatant grants Devour. While you have Devour, you gain damage resistance versus combatants. You don't really need to worry about the finisher part, because this is Devour from any source. So if you're going to keep your Devour up with all of your artifact perks and subclass perks and everything that gives you Devour, it will count towards this. So that's literally all you have to do is just have Devour, and it is around a 20% damage resist. And that's quite a bit for anything, especially when you're spawning an Orb of Power with the 2-piece. If you remember, we have Echo of Starvation, we're picking up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power grants Devour. So there you go. You don't even have to use your finisher. Just pick up an Orb or a Breach, have Devour, profit. And that is that. It's a pretty fun build. I hope you enjoy it. This has been Noble Fox, and I will see you next time.